NFL Daily coming at you. I'm Mitchell Renz. That's Tom Downey. We got Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. And honestly, not too many surprises in the top 4.
Yeah, it's very expected there. Burrow, Young, OKUDAH, Simmons. The Giants are kind of the pivot point, Mitch, but there's really nothing to complain about, at least not yet, out of that mock from Kiper.
Let's then get into the Miami Dolphins, where they take quarterback Justin Herbert over Tua.
Look, at first, for the record, I had this first on my most recent mock draft, though this is kind of becoming a quickly rumored idea out there. Look, Derrick Brown and Wirfs makes sense, but it's the Herbert-Tua discussion that's really interesting. Here's my issue, Mitch, in terms of if there's going to be a full-fledged Tua slide, would the Dolphins pass on Herbert and then the Chargers feel okay taking him? Wouldn't you think there'd be a little bit more consistency in terms of the weight that they're viewed? Unless the Dolphins actually do really, really love Herbert.
Maybe. So the Dolphins in Mel's latest mock, they passed on Tua. So would you guys do it? If you had to pick a quarterback, okay, would you type your T for Tua or would you type your H for Justin Herbert? Fully healthy, I type my T for Tua. Unfortunately, Tom, I got no idea if he's healthy or not.
I think that's the exact issue here. If you trust the medical with Tua, he is the obvious decision. Maybe he doesn't have the same arm as Herbert, but he's far more accurate. I think much more advanced, well, despite having had less playing time. So medically, that's the issue here. But talent-wise, you got to go Tua. Now, if you're worried about the medical, then I think it's perfectly fine to type in your H.
Let's keep the draft here moving. Jerry Jeudy, he's the first wide receiver off the board going to the Jags.
Yeah, Kiper also had a really weird note saying that he almost went tackle because the Jags need a right tackle, which doesn't make sense because they just took one a year ago in Jawan Taylor. The Jags go a bunch of different direction. They've invested, maybe not as heavily as other teams, but they've invested at the wide receiver spot, but the Marquise Lee extension has not panned out very well. You need more help for guys like Dede Westbrook. I don't mind the Jerry Jeudy pick. I just wonder if the Jags will end up focusing on defense instead.
Totally agree with you, Tom. So who's going to be the top wide receiver in this year's draft? It is absolutely stacked. I mean, you could see 5, 6, 7 receivers, I think, honestly, go in round 1. And I think you could see 20 go in the top 3 rounds. So who's going to be the top wide receiver in this year's draft?
I am going to lean with CeeDee Lamb. He's my number 1 guy. But if you want a name we haven't discussed that much that has some of the bigger upside, I think that Denzel Mims would have the highest ceiling of anybody if he can work on his drops and, most importantly, his routing. But he is a fantastic athlete with some incredible body control.
Speaking of CeeDee Lamb, I was pretty surprised to see in this mock draft the Raiders pass on him. So he falls to the San Francisco 49ers at 13.
Yeah, that one makes sense for the Niners. I like that pick. Andrew Thomas makes sense. Kayvon Chasen makes sense. What doesn't make sense is Justin Jefferson going to the Denver Broncos over Henry Ruggs. What? That doesn't make sense. What, Mitch? What?
I mean, I think if you're going to make an argument like, oh, they're not going to take Ruggs, and you don't take a receiver at all. Yeah. But instead, he takes Justin Jefferson, and I think Jefferson is an incredible receiver. But Henry Ruggs, Cortland Sutton to me is a better combination. I like Jefferson, but I don't see the Broncos passing on Henry Ruggs.
And look, I like Jefferson too. He's going to be worthy of a first-round pick when everything's said and done. I just don't understand passing on a guy in Henry Ruggs who really fits what you need. Jefferson's going to be a really good slot receiver. I hate that pick by Denver. I hate it.
Maybe you like this Dallas Cowboys pick here at 17. You got Xavier McKinney out of BAMA. And then the one that jumps out to me, Jordan Love at 19.
Yeah, a bunch of ones I think that are noteworthy here. McKinney's kind of meh. We'll get to Jordan Love, but Javon Kinlaw is an interesting one to me. There are some real medical issues with Kinlaw. I think if he's fully healthy and teams trust him, he probably ends up going top 10, but he's got hip issues now, I've heard. He's got the knee issues we've mentioned before on the show. That's an issue for Miami. Also, they just took Christian Wilkins last year. You're going to go back-to-back round 1 picks at the defensive tackle spot? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm very confused by that pick for Miami. I'd focus on offensive line instead.
Totally agree, Tom. So Javon Kinlaw off the board at 18. The Raiders, they're going to go with Jordan Love at quarterback. And what really jumped off the page to me was in this mock draft, and I want you guys to get your grades in right now, A, B, C, D, or F. So you're telling me, Mel Kiper, the Raiders are going to pass on CeeDee Lamb, take C.J. Henderson, and they're going to pass on Henry Ruggs and take a quarterback in Jordan Love. This mock draft gets a big fat F from me.
I don't like the idea of the Raiders passing on a receiver at number 12, but then it almost worked out. They could have gotten Henderson and Rhodes, would have been an awesome haul for them. Then they went with Jordan Love instead. I am intrigued by the upside of Love. I don't think that would be a good path, though, for the Raiders. So I see a lot of C's, a lot of F's coming in. I tend to agree with that.
Let's go to the next slate of 4 picks. Henry Ruggs, absolute steal for the Philadelphia Eagles here.
Yeah, that one was a no-brainer. I absolutely love that pick for Philadelphia. Frankly, if he's actually there at 21, I don't know what the NFL's doing. That's not a fair pick for the Eagles.
I totally agree. AJ Terrell, I like this pick for the Saints a lot. I think he's going to be a player that actually comes up the draft board a little bit. Let's go now to the Minnesota Vikings. They took Brandon Ayuk at 22. Jalen Johnson. This one jumps off the board to me, a player who's really starting to rise up some players' boards.
Yeah, the cornerback position in terms of once you get past the first couple picks of, hey, it's probably going to be Jeff OKUDAH, then it's probably going to end up being CJ Henderson. Figure out the order after that, I think, depends on which team you talk to. I don't love Johnson in round 1. Now, he had the ball skills at Utah. The production was there. I just don't view him as a better athlete, a better mover, a better overall cover guy than a Christian Fulton or Trevon Diggs, who were both on the board. So Minnesota leaves this mock draft with Brandon Ayuk and Jalen Johnson. Some people will love that haul. I'm just not one of those guys. So I don't love that pick by Minnesota. I think they could have gotten a better corner.
No, Tom, I understand you might not love those picks. And if you guys don't love those picks either, it's all good. I got something to cheer you up that everyone's going to love. NFL jerseys. So whoever your favorite team is, whoever your favorite player is, go to chatsports.com/jersey sale. You can get your favorite team, favorite player, all sizes, colors. We got some color rush. The new jerseys are there as well. And these are Nike NFL jerseys, okay? They're legit. They're really nice. Go to chatsports.com/jersey sale. This deal ends, I believe, Thursday night, Tom, and it's $75 for these bad boys. So take advantage of them. They're Nike. They're legit. If you can't remember the link, we'll put it in the description. We'll put it in the comment section below. Let's round out this now. First round of Mel Kiper's latest mock. Any of these names, Tom, jump off the board at you?
Well, I like the Gross Matos pick. I don't love the T. Higgins selection. I would prefer a Denzel Mims or a Jalen Reagor instead, but it's not the worst one. IGBINOGHENE doesn't fit what the Niners like to do, but, whatever. My issue, though, comes at 32, Mitch. I don't like the Chiefs going down. I know that's fun. I know it's great from a fantasy perspective. The Chiefs don't need a running back. They are fine with Damien Williams. Take someone on day 2 or on day 3 if that's right that you want to go. Get me a defensive player, of which there are several left on the board.
Totally agree, and I also don't think that he realizes that the Chiefs just a few days ago, they also just went out and got DeAndre Washington. So, yes, I don't think DeAndre Washington and Damien Williams are the greatest running backs in the NFL. It's also the Chiefs. You're going to be able to get by, so I totally agree with you. They should have went defense here in this mock draft. All right, Tom, let's get in now to the second round. We can get into the second round coming up here on Mel Kiper's mock. But before that, who is the worst pick of round 1? For me, it's Jordan Love.
See, I actually don't go with Jordan Love as the worst pick of round 1. I'm looking back towards, I think Love is up there. I don't love the DeAndre Swift pick. I think that one is certainly up there. I don't love the Jalen Johnson pick. Although I like Justin Jefferson, I am not a fan of passing on Henry Ruggs for him, which frankly several teams ended up doing. There are a couple head scratchers there, and I'll let you guys in on a secret. There are some even bigger ones in round 2.
I think the bigger secret is you said head scratcher, and I didn't see you scratch this head. Let's go on now to round 2. Let's get into it. Mel Kiper's mock draft. Denzel Mims of the Colts. This would be fun.
Yeah, I like, for the most part, all of these picks up here. Not sold on Ross Blacklock, but Denzel Mims to the Colts is the one that jumps out to me as well, Mitch. The Colts need some more receiver help. For Mims being there at number 34 overall, I know there's no podium this year. That might be a quickly get that pick in. It's kind of a no-brainer move for us.
So we saw T. Higgins. He went to the Green Bay Packers. Denzel Mims out of Baylor. He's going to the Colts. Pick a wide receiver. So type 1 for Higgins, type 2 for Mims.
Yeah,
I'm going 2.
I think 2 is the correct answer. Mims brings you more of a more well-rounded, impressive athletic profile. There are some athletic concerns around T. Higgins, and athleticism tends to matter in athletics. So even though I like T. Higgins, I've kind of become enamored with Denzel Mims. I'm typing in my 2.
Let's go to pick 37, where the second running back off the board, J.K. Dobbins, dyslexic right here. I don't know if I like that pick, Tom.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I love the Fulton pick. Robert Hunt's fine. Epinessa's fine. But Dobbins at 37, you just paid Austin Eckler. So what you're looking for is a rotational back. Why would you want to spend a top 40 pick on a rotational back? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I totally agree. I mean, I understand, like, he's probably thinking, oh, they just got rid of Melvin Gordon. But as you mentioned, when you give Austin Eckler 4 years, $26 million, $24 million, whatever it was, I don't understand this move whatsoever. And I like Dobbins. I think he would fit what they're doing. But for a player who I think revolves around vision, the Chargers also don't have the offensive line, I think, to really let Dobbins thrive.
And I think the vision helps you find the holes maybe aren't going to be there. But I think that's a really good point, because I think offensive line is an area where the Chargers, especially tackles, trying to maybe upgrade, where there are some players left on the board. So I don't like that pick for the Chargers. I like the player, not the fit, though, at all.
So we want you to type me if you plan on watching the NFL Draft, because luckily for you, so do we. We're going to be watching the NFL Draft. So every single person right now, start typing me. Throw it in the comment section. Let's get this bad boy to like 1,000 comments. Come on, type me, type me. And if you are typing me because you're going to watch the NFL Draft, well, why don't you watch it with Tom and I?
Yeah, we're going to have all 7 rounds covered for you guys on the NFL Draft. We'll be live on day 1 on Thursday. On day 2, that's rounds 2 and 3 on Friday. And unlike most of the other networks out there, or at least the streams out there, we're going to cover day 3 for you guys too. And I can promise you this, unlike the failing ESPN and NFL Network, when day 3 comes around, we'll actually talk about those prospects. We're not going to go to boring interviews with day 2 guys that have already already happened. We're going to focus on the picks that are going on. Then we will have every player broken down for you guys on our coverage.
We talk about so many players, and Tom knows so many players, that we have a drinking game. When Tom doesn't know a guy, y'all take a drink.
You don't
Tom,
drink very much.
Get a life, and if you don't have a picture, get a picture. All right, let's go to pick 41 now. Grant Delpit, unbelievable value.
Yeah, I like this fit a lot for Cleveland. They need a free safety. Delpit's tackling and some injury issues. I think the injury side of it could push him down a little bit. And historically speaking, safeties don't go that early, so I like that fit for the Browns. Not as in love with Jacob Eason, because I just don't really love him as a prospect. There's a lot of work left to be done there.
Let's go to now the third running back off the board. My favorite in this class, and this is a perfect fit for fantasy football freaks out there. Jonathan Taylor to the Bucs. Oh, yeah. Give me that.
I'm not surprised, like the one, Mitch, you mentioned. I remember it was 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that time frame, that you really liked Taylor to the Bucs, and I guess Kiper was paying attention there, got you that pick. I got some pass catching and, more importantly, fumbling concerns with Taylor, but in round 2, I'm on board with that one.
People said the exact same thing about Adrian Peterson. When you're really talented, it's all good. Chase Claypool, though, that one I thought was a little bit early for him. Let's go now to pick number 49, Jalen Hurts, and this is early. I expected Jalen Hurts to go in round 3 personally. To see him go in the top 50, this is shocking to me.
Yeah, quarterback, figuring out where they go is pretty tricky, although he did come after Eason and Love all went off the board, so maybe it's not that bad. There was kind of a run in Kiper's mock draft. Hurts would be an instant upgrade at the quarterback spot, at the back quarterback spot, excuse me. But I don't love this idea for Pittsburgh, because they don't have the draft capital to be using on another quarterback project who's not going to help you in year 1 if Big Ben stays healthy. I think they're trying to win right now. I need someone that helps me in year 1, and then I worry about the long-term stuff down the road. So I don't love that pick for the Steelers, even though it certainly would be an upgrade over Mason Rudolph and Delvin Duck Hodges too.
I mean, most quarterbacks are upgrades over Hodges and Mason Rudolph. Sorry, Dylan. So grade the pick here, okay? A, B, C, D, or F. Throw it in the comment section. Tom, I'm going to give it a D. What do you give it?
Yeah, I give it a D too. It's a little bit early for me on top of that, and I just don't think it's a smart move by Pittsburgh, because I don't know if Hurts is legitimately a long-term franchise guy. I think he can be a Tyrod Taylor type, but I don't want to necessarily spend a second-round pick on Tyrod Taylor when I already have a starter in Big Ben.
Totally agree with you. Now, KJ Hamler, he goes to the Bears. I actually like this pick a lot for them. Jeff Gladney, that's a steal, I think, for the Cowboys. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the Rams. That pick makes a lot of sense. Let's now go to 53, Tom. Jordan Brooks, Texas Tech. any of these picks jump off the board of you, Jalen Reagor to me is the one.
That's the one for me too. I don't, Brooks a little early, Pittman a little early, but getting Reagor in round 2, which I don't think he falls outside the top 50. If he does though, ooh, that's a great pickup for the Ravens. So he shouldn't be there. Again? He fell. I like it for Baltimore.
Can somebody get me a recording of Tom going, ooh? Tweet it at me, at MitchellRenz365. Let's make that go viral. Let's go to 57, where we got Devin Duvernay. This one is, I think, a little bit too early for Duvernay.
Yeah, I like Duvernay, but not inside the top 60. And for the Rams, you're going to want to play Cooper Kupp in the slot. Yep. Devin Duvernay thrived this year at Texas after moving into the slot. I want to keep him there, not try and force Kupp somewhere else. You know, you still have Josh Reynolds. You're not screaming for an eater at receiver. Kiper said that he didn't like any of the edge guys there. Then maybe he should have taken Julian Okwara for the Rams instead and not waited on a receiver. I don't like going 2 skill guys with their first 2 picks. I need trench guys. That's what I need.
Matt Hennessy, that's a high-class name right there. Let's go to pick 61, Trayvon Diggs. This is, I think, you want to talk about one of the steals in the draft. Diggs sliding all the way to 61. That's a big-time slide.
There's a lot of disagreement out there on where Diggs will end up going. I've heard round 1. Kiper said he heard round 3. I have a tricky time believing that. I think somewhere in between that 61, even as early as 17 range makes the most sense for Diggs. I don't see him falling to round 2, so I don't like that from Kiper. But for Tennessee, fantastic pick. They nailed that one.
Overall, though, Mel Kiper, he had some interesting mock drafts. And remember, Mel's not quite as good as Tom, so go give him a follow on Twitter at WhatGoingDown.